Hello divas, dudes and dolls, I'm Caricature and welcome back to my plastic, fantastic, and a little bombastic review show, Very Slay, where we review each and every floor show look on the Boulet Brothers Dragula Season 6. This week's floor show theme was killer dolls, and I thought a lot of them took some pretty fun liberties with this. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I will say, what I did not enjoy was that extermination challenge. I hated it in season 2. I did not need to see it again. And in fact, I did not see it because they did one camera close-up of them shoving a needle through someone's knee. And apparently they also did it in their neck. Y'all, no, not doing it. I skipped all the way to the end to see who got eliminated, which I already knew because they did leak it. I mean, you could see it in the trailer. There's a clear shot of the top 10 and Scylla is not there. So I popped past the extermination just to see what happened, how she was gonna die. The second I saw it was gonna be a throat moment, I also skipped past that because I don't do slashed throats. Just slashed throats and eye trauma, absolutely no. Just a no from me at all. Like just an old-fashioned stab from behind would have done the job, I thought. But we've got a series of looks to go over today, and I cannot wait to dive into them with all of you. I will say though, I have to say as a trans woman, I was not a fan of performers being called dolls all episode because only like 2 or 3 of them are trans femme at the very least. Like the rest of them, they're not dolls. There are some exceptions. Roxy Andrews is an exception. But everyone else, if you are a cis male drag performer, you are not a doll. Hate to break it to you. Use another word. So easy. Anyways, getting into these looks, if I think that the look got the job done, met the brief, but didn't blow me away, we give it an okay. If I think that a look was phenomenal and flying off shelves, we give it a slay. And if I think it was gonna be a product recall, we give it an A. And it's all in efforts to find my weekly slay of the day, my favorite look out of the whole episode. Whichever look takes that top spot tonight will go head to head up against our current ranked slay of the season, which is Grey Matter's promo look. Whichever look holds that top spot at the end of the season, I will illustrate in some gorgeous capacity. And you can get sneak peeks of all of the art as it comes out in real time over on Patreon by joining at the $3 tier level. If you want to join and support the channel though, even if it's just at $1, I would immensely appreciate it because I am in the process of moving, and moving is expensive. And I am uprooting my whole livelihood and getting it all set up and readjusted in a new space. Super chats are also an option, y'all. But if you want to support for free, you can join over on the Patreon as a free member to get in-depth discussion posts for every season of Drag Race and Dragula that are all currently airing, along with, or you could just like, comment, and subscribe maybe. Those are very lovely little things that you could do for free. They help me out a ton with the algorithm. With that all knocked out, let's switch scenes and dive on into these gorgeous creepy doll moments. Starting us off this week, once again, I'm gonna keep doing these alphabetically, so we are going to start off with Asia Consent. Asia's look is giving us very like old tribal straw doll. It's really freaky, but it's really cool. I love the makeup. I love all of the straw texturing through the whole thing. This look is absolutely wild. The trident isn't necessary for me, but I think all the little doll parts that are all throughout the look, like in like the bra bits and this little doll handbag moment she has, I think is quite fun. There's something real freaky about this, and to me, this really works. But I also see why it's safe because unless you're like super familiar with this type of a doll, it doesn't like immediately read within that universe. So for me, it's a soft slay. Then we have Anti-Heroine, who by far took this episode and ran for the hills with it for me. I was so over the moon about this because Auntie is the one that's like probably the most local for me. Her drag family is fairly local to where I currently live. The way she performed this whole look is bananas. She truly moved like a real Jack in the Box would. And just like the rag dolling around, it was creepy, but it was so cool. I loved the giant puffy gloves. I loved like the reveals that over time made it more killer, like the blood underneath the collar, the creepy hands underneath the gloves. Really appreciate the fact that over the top of the midsection here, she has these like silver rings to be like the spring of the Jack in the Box. It's great. And then mid-performance, she pulls the sides of the box off and there's like these creepy spider legs on the side of it. Because realistically, A killer Jack-in-the-Box on its own I don't think is super scary, because as long as it's in the box and contained, like, it's not gonna come out and do anything. But giving it mobility makes it frightening. So for me, this was incredibly effective. This was a well-deserved win, and I'm absolutely going to give her a slay this week. Then up next, we have Aurora Gosmic, and I appreciated her take on this, with it being very much like a T-girl. I thought this was definitely unexpected. I do agree that the bodysuit is a bit ill-fitting. I think the weapon being a giant syringe, and she's like injecting people with hormones, is kind of fun. When you look at some of the other looks this week, because it's so simple, it is a little more on the lower end of the safe crew, but I think safe is a worthy placement for it. It's okay. Up next, we have Desiree Dick, who is doing a little Peruvian voodoo doll moment. I appreciate what she was going for. This outfit had way too much going on in terms of volume and scale. Stuff that has this much detail and this much scale to it, it can work. You have to be able to proportion it in the right way in order for it to like work with the body you have and not against it. And at the same time, they knew ahead of time that this was going to be a lip sync challenge. It made the performance really clunky because she had to struggle against the fabric of the garment, because she picked a heavy fabric and then did a lot of it. So for me, this is not terrible. Like, I think it's like a well-designed look. There's just too much for her in particular. So for me, it's okay. It's not awful, but it's not amazing. Then up next, we have Gray Matter. And I just now realized that the like exposed brain bit from the last look, from the Leatherface moment, and this one was like Gray Matter is like in the brain. I felt really dumb when I realized that, but that's a great way to brand your characters, I think. This look, in my opinion, on a technical execution standpoint for the costume construction, is one of the most impressive looks on the runway this week. The performance was also really solid, but the look as a whole is just like top marks. The details in this are great. I think it really does feel like a creepy old, like really old vintage antique doll you would find like in a grandparent's house or attic. I love the tiered collar. I love the little peplum on the shirt. I love the little puffy pants and the jester shoes. This is incredibly effective, and it's also creepy as hell. For me, this is hands down a slay. Then up next, we have Jaharia, and I saw a lot of people complaining that she seemed like she was in the top because the look was pretty simple. Her performance was one of the best ones, bar none. I think a lot of people just see the looks and go, well, obviously she'd be in the bottom. But that wasn't just the challenge. And on top of that, her look is much more Monster High than anything else. I think the weapon is a little crafty looking. I think it is very Dolls Kill energy overall for the whole vibe of the look. With the makeup, the hairstyle, the color combo, it does feel like a Monster High design. I think it is successful in the doll category for that reason, because when you look at it, you associate it with some type of doll. Can't be said for everybody on the runway this week. But I think the look could have been more visually impressive. I find it really basic, so I'm gonna give it an okay. Up next, we have Majesty, and I wasn't expecting this sort of creepy ragdoll moment. When I saw this look in the trailers, I was wondering who it was going to be, but I was not expecting it to be Majesty of all people. Having the stitching that mid-performance she could pull out to reveal like yarn innards was quite fun. I thought also just like the crocheted nature of the whole look was really fun and cutesy. I like the face mask. And on top of that, I think that the little puff of pollen she shot out of the flower mid-number, I thought it was kind of a cool little touch. I thought it was a great, well-designed idea, but again, compared to some of the others, it's a little on the simple side, so I'm gonna give it an okay. Then we have Pi, who's also doing a voodoo doll moment. I think having the little face inside of the giant head is really freaky because it makes Pi's face look like a tongue. The like big coiled doll hair, I think, works for this. The giant needle I'm a fan of. I think the way this is distressed and like the blood work is done on it, the giant stitching, I think it works. I think the performance of it was also really solid. For me, this is a slay. It's just mostly not my personal preference, but I think it is still really good. Up next, we have Scylla. I think the hair is great. The makeup is fine. I love the lip shape, actually. I think the lip shape is really cute. I like the blood treatment on the look as a whole, but I think that her biggest problem was the boa. with like the scalps. The concept, it worked, but it didn't really read as a doll that like you would actually go buy or that you would find somewhere. I think the concept was a little bit too thought out. Like, I think she put too much effort into the plan that it just kind of landed a little weirdly because of that. It's not a terrible. I'm gonna give it an okay. Up next, we have Vivi the Force, and I thought this little clown moment was cute. I actually kind of thought this was going to be from the first episode when I saw the clown look in the trailer, because I thought it was going to be a little Pennywise situation, but I also felt like it was a little too on the nose. Her little walk that she does towards the camera is creepy as hell, but to me, it read definitely more clown than doll. And I know like the clown doll from Poltergeist is a really iconic part of doll fame and doll history, but I don't know. Something about this did not land for me in the same way as I was hoping it would. I think the silhouette works. I just think she could have had a better concept as a starting point. It's okay. And then finally we have Yuri, this marionette moment. I love the mask. I love the mask so much. And then on top of that, when she walks and has like the little strings on the thing you use to control the puppet, I don't know what it's called, I ain't no puppeteer. The fact that they're like wires so that way it looks like she's being consistently controlled, it's really cool. It's a creepy look. I can already tell there's gonna be a lot of fan art of this one. I don't know, it's very like Tumblr horror to me, which I think is kind of fun. I loved the makeup underneath the look too. I thought the performance was really good. I did see why she was just played safe. For me on a personal level though, I thought this look was wonderful and I'm gonna give it a slay. With that, it's time to pick my slay of the day, and I have to say my favorite, realistically my favorite two, like by a long shot, were Gray and Auntie. But I think when I take just the looks into consideration, I think there is one that is stronger than the other. But when I take the whole episode, the challenge, the performance, and the one that I really gravitated towards more because of the performance, I'm gonna give my slay of the day to Auntie Heroine. This look, I think, is pretty simple. It's really just from the waist up. However, my gosh, was it effective. Now, when we take this look and put it head to head up against Grey Matter's promo look, I think both of these looks are so cool. Objectively, Gray's look is better than Auntie's look here. But for me, this look is going to be one of my favorites of the whole season. It's gonna be one of the performances and one of the moments that I think is going to stick with me. And I'm gonna remember it like forever, realistically. It's gonna go down as one of my favorite Dragula moments. I'm gonna progress Auntie as my slay of the season going into episode 3. But I think I can make something really cute and kooky with this theme for the illustration. So that's more the direction I leaned in with this. Ultimately, I'm making an illustration of the final look that wins the whole thing. And I think I can do more with Auntie's look than Gray's. But we'll see what happens next week. Anything can change. Now, as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those lovely little things. And be sure to go out there, y'all. Stay kind, stay queer, and make sure that your day is very slay.